All right. According to one recent study, of the 6.3 billion metric tons of plastic waste that the world has generated since the middle of the last century, we've managed to recycle only about 9% of it. Every year, we throw away enough plastic to circle the entire Earth. This excerpt from an article on the nrdc.org website explains the dire nature of the Earth's current circumstances. But plastic pollution isn't only harming the world that we inhabit, it's also affecting our health and the lives of other animals. I have, after doing some extensive research, I've been able to compile a multitude of reasons why it would be beneficial for not only us, but also all the living things around us to reduce our plastic waste. The main problem is clear. Very few people understand the true consequences of the obscene amount of plastic that the human population creates daily. A website called plasticocean.org provides some sobering facts for us. More than 8 million tons of plastic are dumped in the ocean every year, and over 90% of seabirds have plastic in their stomachs. And annually, approximately 500 billion plastic bags are used worldwide. This problem isn't going away anytime soon. Our beverage bottles alone cause more pollution than seems possible. 14% of all litter comes from plastic bottles. According to the Container Recycling Institute, 100.7 billion plastic bottles were sold in the US in 2014. In addition to all of this plastic clogging up our oceans, it may cause harm to many different kinds of marine animals. According to the website, onegreenplanet.org, there is an estimated 270,000 tons of plastic just floating on the surface of the ocean. According to a study done by researchers at Plymouth University, there is a staggering 700 different species that are threatened by it. The researchers believe that plastic may play a part in the rising rate of species extinction. The researchers have also found that 693 species have encountered plastic debris, and that 400 have included entangling and ingesting of the plastic. There are two solutions to the issue of plastic pollution. First, by reducing our personal plastic waste, and second, by supporting laws and policies that will prevent the unnecessary use of plastic waste on a larger scale. So there are many different tips and tricks that one can use when trying to break the habit of using unnecessary amounts of plastic. And the website globalcitizen.org provides some simple steps, and I will share the easiest ones with you. First, purchase a reusable water bottle. For obvious reasons, this step will help you cut down on a lot of plastic waste. The second and third steps sort of go hand in hand. Ideally, we should be cutting down on the amount of takeout ordering that we do, just due to the amount of plastic that's involved in the packaging of the food. And if that's not feasible, you can always try just using reusable cutlery with your takeout orders. And by doing this, we might be able to cut out 222 tons of plastic entering the environment every year. The next tip is buying reusable grocery bags. This one is very important. There's so many plastic bags that are in the ocean currently, harming the environment and harming marine animals as well. And the final tip is using paper or metal straws as opposed to plastic straws. Here in Gainesville, most of the restaurants have transitioned from plastic straws to paper straws, and it's making a huge difference. I think if more cities could take the initiative to make changes like that, we could cut out a huge chunk of our plastic waste. This brings me right into my next point, which is supporting policies and laws that will help us reduce our plastic waste output. So the website, congress.gov, has lots of different policies listed. And if you type in plastic waste into the search bar, they should all come up. And I urge you to investigate and research these policies and support the ones that seem the most effective and helpful to you. Our decisions don't just affect us, but they affect other people and animals as well. The people who are most affected by pollution are those who are less affluent and living in countries that purchase plastic waste from the US, such as Indonesia and Vietnam. In these countries, there is but a small amount of solid waste that is burned or dumped. It is these countries that are shouldering the burden of our global waste habits. 400,000 to 1 million people die each year in developing countries because of diseases caused by mismanagement of waste. Microplastics are tiny little pieces of plastic that might cause, as you can see in the third slide of my PowerPoint, they may be causing a multitude of different diseases. Imagine a world where you can't walk outside without stepping on plastic, or you can't take a swim in the ocean without getting tangled up in a plastic net. Imagine 1/3 of all marine mammals eventually going extinct. This is a future that we will eventually reach unless we work hard to change. Now, imagine a world where plastic bags are a thing of the past and where everybody makes a concerted effort to reduce their own plastic waste. This can only be achieved if we work to support laws that will prevent the use of unnecessary amounts of plastic, and if we change the way we live our lives in order to save our planet. If nothing else, go out and buy some reusable grocery bags. You'll be changing the world for the better. To conclude, a quote by Abraham Lincoln: "You cannot escape the responsibilities of tomorrow by evading them today." Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to do a little question and answer. So if anybody has any questions, please share.
We make a comment instead of a question?
Sure.
Okay, I was just, in fact, talking with Aunt Wendy today also. Both of the places where we live have just recently gone to the extreme of not doing any kind of recycling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sad. Yeah.
So down in Santa Rosa County, they're changing it now that if you want to recycle, you have to pay extra for it. And
Wow.
Wendy was saying today that in Columbia that they just totally stopped recycling.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily in Gainesville here, it's true. They're doing this really cool thing where all restaurants have changed to paper straws. And so sometimes it's a little frustrating if you take too long to drink your drink because they'll start to fall apart. But for the most part, it's actually really cool. So
When we were kids, that's all there was in straws.
Yeah. Yeah. You can also buy like metal straws online and then you like take them places with you. People do that too.
That's cool. I noticed that when we went out to eat with you the other night, that those straws were paper.
Yeah, yeah. And they'll even do it for to-go orders and stuff for everything. It's pretty cool.
Jessica, do you know if I thought I remember reading something where they're developing plastic that breaks down under UV.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, but
instead of having an indefinite life, it just kind of it breaks down. I don't really know exactly how or what they're doing to have it do that, but I thought I remember reading something about that. Did you come across anything on that with your research?
I didn't, but I'll have to look that up because that sounds really interesting. Cool stuff.
Can you share those links with us, the Global Citizen one and the?
Yes, I forgot to mention all of those are on the last slide of my PowerPoint. So everything that I used for this is on the final slide of the PowerPoint. So.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a comment. as well.
Okay.
When I was working in that restaurant on campus this semester, we looked at some, because of COVID, we transitioned to all to-go containers, whereas before they had only to-go containers available upon request. And so we had to do a cost analysis, and the more eco-friendly products actually cost more than the regular to-go containers.
Mhm.
And the eco-friendly ones had to be picked up and recycled a certain way that our campus didn't offer. And so based on those two factors, we had to stick with the less, the more foam, plastic,
Yeah.
less eco-friendly options. So it's kind of going along with Grandma's comment. It's not really easy right now to do, but
That's for sure. And especially with like COVID and everything, people are eating out a lot more, and it's just hard to like, not like eating out, but like getting takeout orders. And so, which is hard to not do.
One
The
other.
virus. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Before the virus, I was thinking with Jade over there on Dauphin Island at the Lighthouse Bakery, they'd switched over to doing, as long as you ate in the building, you had regular ceramic plates and metal silverware. They'd totally done away with the plastic stuff, but when they had to do takeout, then they went back to it this year.
Yeah. Coronavirus definitely isn't helping the situation.
I guess it helps in the sense of like, didn't it cut down on smog and everything in a lot of places for a little
That's
bit?
true. Like almost immediately, there was a lot
Yeah, there's
of
a
difference
there.
to give and to take, I guess.
So the other thing that I remember looking into, I tried to look for the company that's doing this. I think it's somewhere in the Midwest, but they're taking recycled plastic and under heat, they can convert it back into fuel. I mean,
Oh, that's really cool.
yeah. So it's a petroleum product. They're just breaking it down. But I don't know, I didn't see anything that kind of shared with you how efficient that process is, because it does take heat to break it down. But
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that. That's really interesting. I never heard of
I
that
have a
before.
question.
Yes,
slash
Jade.
Comment.
Okay.
I think I remember there being a whole thing about how we send some of our recycling to other countries, like China, to have it recycled.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they asked, and then they stopped accepting that. Is that still the case, and is that affecting what happens to our recycling here?
So I think I do remember reading something about China not accepting our trash anymore, but there's still a bunch of other countries that do. And so honestly, what worries me is that it might just get worse for those countries. Because there was this documentary that I watched recently that was kind of about all that kind of stuff, and I was talking about all the health problems that people who have to work in that area get from it, from all the burning plastic just in the air constantly, and it's pretty sad. So, yeah.
Well, did you see in any of your research any ways of safely recycling plastics or something like that?
Not so much. I just I was mostly researching ways to just reduce like use of disposable plastics in general, regardless of whether they get recycled or not. So just like doing things that would reduce that is mostly what I'm looking at. So yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. I'm gonna go ahead and stop
presentation.
That was really good, baby.